Welcome, everyone. So glad to have you here joining us.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our session, Getting Active with Digital Manipulatives. My name is Akia Shepherd. I'm so excited to have you all here today. I was a former secondary science educator, and I now work with SMART as a training specialist.
And I'm Beth Galanti. I work for SMART as a PD specialist. I'm a former elementary teacher and coach. So happy to work with teachers and to have you here with us today.
So we're going to jump right in. Today's going to be active. We really want you guys to join our fitness class. So there's some directions here on the screen, and these directions are also going to be in the chat so that you can interact with us. So today, our plan for you, our workout plan is here. We're going to start off with a warm up. So as Beth said, we want to loosen you up, get your active learning limbs ready, get the blood flowing by having you experience student manipulatives and see what that's like. Beth, can you tell them what we have in store for our core training?
Yes, when we move, we're all warmed up and we move into our core training. We are going to be really building those Lumio building muscles and our lesson creation muscles. And we are going to actually make and create some manipulatives in Lumio. And after we do some building, we are going to stretch and stretch ourselves back, transition our mind back to how to use everything that we just built in our real classroom context. So we're going to experience them, start making our own, and then really learn how we're going to apply it for our own classes.
So I hope you guys are ready and you have your water next to you because clearly we have a nice workout in store. So first up, I want to discuss just how do you use manipulatives in your classroom currently, and what are some challenges when using manipulatives? So in just a second, you're going to have the opportunity to answer those questions. So have that in your mind. Think about, again, what manipulatives you use in your classroom and what are some challenges. Beth, when you were a classroom teacher, what were some ways that you use this?
So, of course, I had to use manipulatives every day. And, the first thing your mind goes to is math, right? Or some stations type thing. But I really used them in all subject areas to really help the kids really build and make that meaning with the concrete manipulatives.
All right. Well, I want to hear from you all. I see I now have 50 students in my class. So I am going to use an activity called Shout It Out. So here in Lumio, I'm going to press Start for Class. And you all on your tab where you've joined with Hello Smart, you should be able to see a text box here now where you can enter your response. And you can let us know how do you use manipulatives and then what are some challenges that you have experienced. So once you've written your response, you just choose send and they will pop up on the screen. So once you've answered that question, you can return back to the Zoom tab so you can see all the different responses from everyone in our workout class today. So Beth, you mentioned how you use them in a lot of different subject areas. I was a TA for elementary school, so I remember one of the challenges of preparing all of those little manipulatives, especially when using paper, cutting them up and they're light and they're flying around the room. What were some challenges that maybe you had?
So for all the love that I have for manipulatives and hands-on everything, it comes with challenges, right? So especially when, and there's challenges for the older kiddos as well, but the younger ones, right? They are so sensory, they're experiencing everything, including in the mouth, and how to fling them and how to stack them in other ways, which is all part of the exploration. But I can see that the uses and the challenges are coming in right here on your landing board of,
Right.
did these manipulatives end up in the mouth, in the pocket, in the nose sometimes?
Yeah, I'm
Unfortunately,
saying
yes.
not many to use. For me, as a secondary teacher, I wanted them to have them in school and at home. And I had large classes, so I needed a lot. I see we're using algebra tiles here, different hands-on learning, bananagrams for spelling words, some awesome things here for ELA and math using manipulatives and having, yes. And I have someone even who hasn't used them yet. So I'm really excited to have all your different experiences here today and for you to learn how you can use these manipulatives in Lumio and also how you could possibly overcome a lot of these challenges.
Yeah, so this whole board is getting crowded up just because everyone is saying, yeah, we use manipulatives a lot. They do come with a lot of challenges, especially when you don't have the ones you need, or there's not that equity to have, the right amount for everyone. So we're hoping that we'll be able to solve a lot of your challenges and barriers to using them and find new ideas for using them digitally in Lumio today's session.
So first, for our warm-up, I have a few examples that you can experience. Remember, if you are signed into my class, you're going to have the experience of being a student and playing with these manipulatives. So feel free as you're listening to us to interact with us on your hellosmart.com page. So first up, I have a four corners activity. If you are familiar in the classroom where everyone runs to a different corner of the room to indicate, their response, we're going to do this digitally. So I'm going to set this up because this is actually going to be a collaborative manipulative that we're doing together. And I am going to put us in one team actually, because I want everyone to be able to see everything that's happening in our class. So I'm going to put everyone in one team.
Yep, and if you're a couple few who weren't able to make it in, please let us know which choice you would choose in the chat.
So our four corners question is, which activity best represents you? So we have these different images here, and the way that you're going to tell us, and I see some people have already figured it out, we see that muscle over there, go ahead and just click and drag and move it to the activity that best represents you. And Beth, I'm over here where where we see this guy with the tire, but I'm not the tire guy. I'm that lady in the back holding the drink, watching, cheering him on.
Yes, you're
So I'm definitely
supportive.
here. Yes, I'm supporting everyone. I may go in and lend a little hand, but I'm definitely over here in the back. And I see someone else that I wish, and I see a lot of couch potatoes this summer. No shame. And that's why you're here
No.
in the class, stretch out a
Yes.
little bit to get you ready. What about you, Beth?
I don't know, right? So we all are like all of these at some point. I'm super jealous that you chose the little supportive lady in the background. Like, yep, she's just standing strong for this guy. I'd like to say I'm super tenacious. This guy lifting the tire. I'm gonna have to be honest that later on today I will be this couch potato, just kind of frozen and just like soaking in any moment of relaxation before the kids come in and need something.
I agreed. So one thing that I want to mention about how we did this four corners manipulative, awesome, our beach, is that I can click on these and I can drop down and I can see who added them. So in class, when we do physical four corners, I love to pick on students, just a random student at random and have them explain, why they picked that choice. So you can do this here with even this manipulative. So if Mr. Cloud or Loretta, I believe it was earlier in the chat. If you want to let us know why you chose this image in the chat, please feel free. And I see we have some Peloton people here.
Yeah, and I see someone figured out how they can add the images in for their creative choice that doesn't quite fit in the box. Yeah.
Yes, some of us are out of the box. We need five corners. So we want to get through and show you some manipulatives used in different ways. So we saw it used collaboratively, really to kind of simulate motion in the class, because maybe some limitations that we don't have, and conveniently having that manipulative there to be able to indicate and kind of represent where you're feeling is related to you was one way. And now we have another example here. Beth,
Yes,
I'll let
this
you
one
explain.
is actually one of our ready-mades. You don't have to build or find shapes or letters at all. This one you can easily just click and grab and it's yours, among many others that we have. But in this one, it's actually titled Making Words, but you don't have to use it to making words, because I know as an elementary teacher, we all had this, or wish that we had this kit of letter tiles, even if we had to cut them out. And for this, any kind of, phonics instruction, and, from those really pre-readers and emergent readers up until, we could use them for vocabulary, sight words, acrostic poems. There's so many uses that this can go for. I love that. The flexibility of it, it's really just limited by, how much time you have to just, add something else. So all she had to do was just drag out a couple of tiles. And now instead of just watching her, she's going to be actually converting it into a handout for each one of us to automatically, just like the most ideal copy machine, automatically we all get them right into our screens. So now we're going to be interacting with this, and we're going to be able to move those manipulatives and build those words. So whatever she dragged in before converting is going to be there for us to start working on.
So you all as students, you should be able to now move these letters around and have your own manipulative. And as the teacher, I can go in, and give me a second to load in, and I can check on your progress. So not only do you all have your own copy, I can go in just a moment and just check to make sure that you all are understanding the concept, are able to complete the task, or assist you guys.
Yeah, so now it's like we all have these tiles on our desks, and we're all dragging and, experimenting at first. That's what I love about manipulatives, is that they can experiment, make mistakes. And half the fun is just, dragging and stacking as many as you can while you're realizing how to use it. So we get some friends who've pressed start, we'll start to see their bubbles.
While we wait, I'm actually going to show you guys another manipulative. Here we have fractions on a number line. And Beth, I think this is in your wheelhouse as well, so I'd love for you to.
Sure, yeah, let's just give that other one a minute to load and check out this one. So this one should be ready to go for you. I apologize about that other one. This one is ready to go. We've already converted it so that you guys could just start racing on it. This one is fractions on a number line, which spans lots of our elementary grades as far as the unpacking of how thick that standard can get. But this one has, this race car manipulative that students are able to drag. So if they have a touch device, they're able to just reach their little finger out and drag, or they can use their mouse like a Kia's moving. And you are able to, for this one, for example, bring in a PDF of these number lines that you have and add on the answers or whatever. Maybe your students aren't into cars anymore this year, so you change the manipulative to something else. So they're actually able to feel that they're getting closer to that one whole, or maybe even past that one whole.
Yeah, and I think this really helps you understand something that, might be conceptual, but really understanding, okay, what does 1/4 mean? So manipulatives really give you the chance to take something out of the textbook and really understand it a lot more deeper.
Yeah, so now we see all of our bubbles of students who've pressed start, so we're able to switch quickly between them. And Akia just clicked in to see, yes, that Dahlia is trying out the different answers. She's doing quite well. And so she's able to hop in and out, and just as easy as that, just in the minute we've been talking, finish her examples.
And for this last example, I'm just going to leave it as teacher view for time's sake, but I want you guys to see a secondary use. So in chemistry, there's a real complicated concepts towards the end where you start talking about stoichiometry and limiting reactions and things that conceptually sometimes are hard for students to grasp, and also for them to complete problems. There are whole pages of computations. So long story short, a limiting reactant is just something in a chemical reaction that stops the reaction from happening because one of the compounds or elements ran out. Now, to get them to understand that, though they're doing pages of math, they need to understand what they're looking for and why. So relating this to everyday tasks, like I want to make an ice cream sandwich, the recipe for an ice cream sandwich is to use 2 scoops and 1 cone, and having a problem here that says, okay, you have 12 cones in your pantry and only 13 scoops. How many ice creams can you get out? Okay, what is the thing in your pantry that's limiting you from making more? So like counting these out and doing that really helps them understand that concept.
Yeah,
So
and actually physically dragging them is going
yeah.
to just solidify that learning before the formula comes into play, before the memorization and the real, abstract representation of symbols and variables, that they realize they have to, oh, I have to have physically one of these for every two that I'm having of these.
Mhm. So I hope you guys are ready for the core training so that you can make sure that you know how to create these manipulatives within Lumio for you and your classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and switch gears and show you how these manipulatives are made. So I'm going to end this lesson. And while I'm doing that, you all actually can switch from being a student and try to get into Lumio yourself. So I'll show you how to do that.
Yep, and our moderator, Dan, just put it in the chat. If you weren't joined in our class, you can just easily go to loom.io and you'll be able to click sign in as a teacher. And if you were joined, you will have to leave the class and then you'll find the little link for Are You a Teacher? So Akia logged out of that class and she chose teacher sign in.
Yep. So loom.io, or you could find that Are You a Teacher here. So hopefully you all are able to get into Lumio and sign up or sign in if you haven't already as you listen to how you make these. We're actually going to make 3 examples. So 2 of them I want you to watch and kind of, get your bearings down. And then on the third one, we're going to make together. So the first step, once you're in Lumio, is to choose to add an activity. And here we have a lot of different options of different things that we can add. And I want to point everyone's eyes towards the bottom right there, manipulatives, ready-made resources. So you can decide at what level you want to create. You can take something that's already made from this section by just clicking on that manipulative section. And you see all of the nice options that we have here.
Yeah, and someone was just asking, are there any ready-made? So take a look. Look at all of these that are spanning all the different options that you may need, and you can level them up certainly with adding something before you convert it so that your students will all already have that built on their page. So we encourage you to really dig in here and hover on that magnifying glass to get a little preview and try all these out.
So today I'm going to use the coins ready-made. So once you find a ready-made that you like, you just select it and it will load into your profile. So before we leave, going to make sure you know a few other ways to find different manipulatives that are already made for you. And again, we'll make sure that you know how to make them yourself as well. So now that I have this here in my editing screen, I can just take this as is and use this with my students, or I can customize it using some of the buttons up top. So I have an option here. The A allows me to add text. So if I want to add maybe some instructions or different problems on this screen, I just click the A and I'm able to customize my text and just start typing. So I can add text to here. You also have the option to add images. Do you have any ideas of kind of maybe how someone might use images on this platform? I've done kind of like a store where maybe there's like different toys or different things here with different prices and the kids kind of have to put it out.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So when you use the images here, this icon, you can either upload images from your device, you can search the web for images, or you can copy and paste if you want to create a little store here. So know that you have the ready-made options and you can use them as is, or you can add text or images to them. And this last step is really easy, but often forgotten. You notice how some of the manipulatives we were using, you watched me use them, I used them to model, and others you could use. I have to convert this page so that is something that my students can do. Currently, this is view only on the student devices. So to make it something that they can interact with, up here in the upper right-hand corner is a magic wand. And here I get to choose if I want it to be an individual activity, which we call a handout, or a workspace. So I'm just going to convert that to a handout, and we're all done. So I want to show you another way you can make a manipulative, but I do want to see if there's any questions about the ready-mades. Just let me know as I'm making these other ones. If you see any questions in the chat, Beth, that we need to kind of go back over concerning the ready-mades. So
yeah, it looks like we're gonna kind of address in a second about how we can use manipulatives with our older students as well.
yes, yes. So right here in my plus sign, I'm just going to add another page. And this time, instead of the ready-made manipulatives, I'm going to import our own resources. You guys probably already have a lot of great things that you would use to your students that you would just, kind of add a little bit to make it a manipulative. So this import resource option allows me to bring in my own files. So I'm going to pull something off of my computer. I have a PDF here and choose open, and now it's loading it in so that I can make it a part of my Lumio lesson. So my file that I uploaded today is a PDF, but most of your file types should be supported, whether you're using a slideshow or a PDF document like myself. So I am going to just select this one page, and I'm going to add it in. And Beth, do you have some ideas of some customizations that I can make to this page to make it a manipulative for my students?
Yeah, so Akia just had this PDF saved. So like anything that we could have from released items from our state testing or anything from our curriculum that we have saved on our device, you're able to import anything that you already have. So for this text, for my middle school or maybe early high school level, we're still gonna look for annotating, right? Same thing we do in some of the lower grades as far as annotating that text or doing a close read. For this one, I would probably, stick to just a few symbols. So of course, they're gonna have some questions about some words or some concepts in the text. So I would definitely give them a question mark so that while they're reading this, they can drag that question mark and mark it, to go back later and really start talking or thinking about that question. I'd also give them an exclamation point so that they're able to just quickly mark if they're having a reaction to something. They want to keep reading, but they can just drag that down as a quick note that they're having some thought or reaction or reminding. And then I would probably put maybe a star or something that is the answer, the purpose for reading that I've given them. I know we all have our, we use some of the typical ones, but sometimes we make it a little more specific for students. And we all have the things we like to have them, the colors of highlighter or underline, or the specific reasons and purposes we have for reading. So I would just encompass that all in the star for now and maybe stick with just 3 manipulatives to start.
All right,
Yeah, so
well,
we
that
got
was
this. Maybe they're looking for
simple.
evidence in the upper grades. Yeah, perfect.
Yes. So here, I'm just going to add little descriptors for the students so that they can know what these different symbols are to mean. And I, again, use the same concepts that we saw earlier when I customized my ready-made, but now I'm doing this on my own sheet or my own resource. So you can import in your own tools and add different elements to it. And now I want to take it a step further, and I want you to see your different editing tools you have here. So I have these 3 markers here, and there are certain things that I want to move and things that I want to stick. So when you click on anything you've added to the page, you get a drop-down menu, and I can use that to lock anything that I want to stay in place. So this drop-down menu really helps you convert the things that you add to the page. So now that I've locked things down, the pieces that I want the students not only to just be able to drag, I want them to be able to pull and get as many as possible.
Yes.
The option in my drop-down is Infinite Cloner, which really converts this to our manipulative.
Yep. So just you have this never-ending stack for them to have as many questions or sparks or find all that evidence that's in the passage.
All right. So remember, our last step is to convert this to an activity for the students so that they have the ability to have their own and they can use the options that you made. So this last option I actually want us to do together. So hopefully everyone is signed into Lumio by now. So I'm going to go back to my Lumio homepage and I'm going to start from the beginning. So what we're going to make is we're going to make our own little four corners activity, and hopefully we could do it really quickly. To start off, we're going to hit add activities. And again, I'm at loom.io and hopefully we're signed in. And if you're someone that prefers to watch, remember that these things will be recorded, so you could also go back and make this with us. So we chose to add an activity. And next, for our four corners template, we actually used a graphic organizer. So we're going to go down here to ready-made resources. And where we have graphic organizers, I like the content mapping graphic
Love it.
organizer as a nice, easy four corners template. So you just select that and it's going to set up your lesson. And as we wait, Beth, do you have any ideas of different ways that maybe we could use the four corners?
Well, I mean, four corners is like, I love this work mat. I love that you chose this
Mhm.
one. The four corners is just such a flexible, we can use it for everything, right? You're using it for multiple choice for a quiz, but you're also using it for multiple choice. I think someone said in the chat earlier, for how are you doing today? Just that easy check-in.
Mhm.
This work mat is already built for us, and we can use it as a whole group to grab that. I would probably say, we should use it for, what's your favorite way to be rewarded in school, right? Like what is going to motivate you? So we can give
Mhm.
our class four different options just to check in with them, like learn more about them, like maybe first week of school activity. So, the space is already built in right here for us to type the question for them. So yeah, in school, what's your favorite way to be rewarded, or what's your, yeah, favorite way to be rewarded?
And I
Yes,
think this is a
exactly.
great way to get to know your student. So if there's some question that you want to know, make something that you're going to use your first week of school. So if there's something that you want to know about your students, please feel free to use any other questions. And also with the text, notice that I just clicked inside of it and selected this dot here to the right to resize my text box so that it fits here into the space perfectly. And remember, you can always edit and resize your text. That was maybe too big. And just control your text up here with your options. So in school, what is your favorite way to be rewarded? Next up for our four corners, we probably want to put some different choices.
Yeah.
So
So
in these
we
boxes, we can add some text to put some choices. So Beth, what are some ways that my students, I loved buying bags of Starburst. You guys don't judge me, but Jolly Ranchers can't like that. They loved it, and they're just single pieces of candy.
I
Even as
know the
middle and
little
high school, they love treats.
the
So I'm gonna put
treats
treats
is a
as one option.
powerful the treats is a powerful motivator. If you're in a healthy schools, I always had to teach in the healthy schools where we were not, no, we were not allowed to do that. However, there are special ways, right? Like recognition. Maybe you have a
Yes.
special board that you're doing recognition. Um, we always have jobs or special privileges. What else? um, extra credit if there's certain participation or different ways you're able to give them a little boost here and there for different activities. So
Right. For,
I
so
would
for my
say
students
that's
who
what
want
it's
it A plus plus, you know. So
right.
I love to know also in the chat if you guys are choosing to I spelled privileges wrong. If you all are choosing to make a four corners on something else, so if you picked a different question for you to get to know your students about, please let us know in the chat. I'll have to check it out later to see what you guys are creating.
All
So I've
right,
added my
so
text to the screen and hopefully you've been able to add your elements as well. We have our question and we have our four options. I'm going to now work on my little lower box here. This is where we're going to put our manipulative, but before that, I'm going to put some directions so that if this is their first time experiencing the digital manipulatives with Lumio, they know that what they need to do is click and drag. So I like to change the color of that so that they know those are directions. I've added all my text. Now let's add a fun picture that the students can use to move around. So always up here in the upper right hand, well, upper middle, I should say, there's the option here to add in your multimedia, and you can upload from your device or you can add an image from the web. I'm gonna find an image of kind of like someone running so that
Yes.
it kind of simulates what happens in my class.
Yeah, so we have this Bing Safe Search right built in, so you don't have to have the image already saved. Just like a running silhouette
There we
will
go.
give you that what actually happens in the classroom, right? They're like jolting over to that corner.
I like this guy over
And
here.
yeah, that works. That's a good one.
So if you're trying to use the same image as me, I searched running silhouette and did a little scroll and I found this guy. But know that you can use your own image if you guys have a picture of your school mascot saved, or you want to go to your school website real quick and copy and paste that image in. You can use whatever you like. And now that we have everything we need on the screen, our next steps are to click in and do those drop down menus and lock down the things that we want to lock and infinitely clone what we want to infinitely clone. So pretty much everything except for our running man, we can lock down because we want that to stay on the screen. And we want it to be still. We don't need it to move. It's kind of a part of the background.
Yeah. There we go. We want to be really cognizant of what's being moved and what's not.
And what we want to be our manipulative that the students are going to use to represent themselves is our running silhouette here. So remember here in this drop down, we choose infinite cloner. So once you have done all of your conversions and you've added everything to your screen, there's just one more step. And I've said it already. We can see if someone says it before me in the chat. Maybe that's how our winners pick. Who knows? But what is the
Exactly.
step that I'm missing to make this something that my students can actually interact with? Give it a second. Give it a second.
Ooh, we're getting them
All right.
in.
So I have to convert this. I have to go up there to the right-hand corner, click that magic wand, and choose, is this going to be done individually or collaboratively? And remember, we did our four corners. We want to do it all together so we can see everyone's choices. So this time, instead of picking handout, like I did on the other options, I'm going to pick workspace. And that's it. So I can just retitle this. And now you guys have a four corners activity that you can use with your students the first week of school. You can write the questions here if you want. And one last tip is in these three dots here, you can even duplicate this, choose edit, and just create more questions and just have a whole day of four corners if you want. So I hope you guys were able to create this. I'm going to go ahead and start transitioning us from our core workout to our cool down. Beth, if there's any last things that you want to say as I transition us.
No, we had tons of people who remembered about the magic wand is the last thing you do to convert. Hopefully, you were able to get a little taste of some ideas for how to use it with all grades of students. We had some really great ideas for all age levels in the chat
Yes.
while I've been glancing at it. And I also wanted to mention, so we can turn any of these manipulatives that are ready made for us or that we create into handouts or workspaces. So if we think we want our students to have their own work map for those digital manipulatives, they can drag and pull, and it same like any handout in Smart Learning Suite or on Lumio, we're actually able to, students can click that done button, let us know either they're all done or they need help, but they do have the option to work together with manipulatives and have that building in pairs or in teams to kind of get that assistance from each other.
Right. And so also I want to mention, I said I'll show you another place where you can find some ready-made resources. And when you're back in your home page of Lumio, there's an explore resource option. And here as well, under collections, you'll find another section of manipulatives. So you can check out different things that are highlighted here. You can click on them. Let's see. Oh, I love the fridge magnet. Decimals. I can't pick. I can't pick. All right, a lot of great stuff. I'm going to go with my decimals today. You just select it and you choose save it to my library, and it becomes a file that you can use. And again, use it as is or customize it. So you have a lot of options for building your manipulatives in Lumio, whether it's from scratch, from something you already have, or from a ready-made. So I hope you guys worked up a good sweat, built your muscles. You feel confident that you can build manipulatives in Lumio. And I have a final question for you for your cool down. And that's to bring us back to our classrooms. And I want you to share out how can you use Lumio to create digital manipulatives in your classroom. So really think about your grade level, your content area, because there's probably other teachers here who teach the same thing, who they would love to hear your ideas. So put your ideas, now that you know how easy it is to create manipulatives in Lumio, of things that you can do in the chat. And we're going to capture that. And when we share some resources with you, which we'll tell you about in just a second, I'm going to try to make sure that we have as many of those ideas as possible in your living resource so that you can look back and find some ideas from other educators.
Yeah, give us all your ideas in the chat.
And as we wait for those ideas to come in the chat, Beth, if you want to tell them about the resources that they're going to get.
Yes. So we have so many resources for you for attending this session. So we are putting a link in the chat in just a moment while those ideas are coming in. And when you click there, you're going to be taken to a slideshow full of resources. So you'll be able to find the resources from not only this session, but all of the ones, even ones you weren't able to attend. Of course, you can view those on the recording, but you're also able to grab resources and see what they were able to accomplish and brainstorm in their session. We'll also get you the link to all of our webinars for best practices and how to and basic how-tos as well. We have getting started resources for any level of what you're trying to do. And we do have those great quick videos that get you really excited and really a quick start into using Lumio. We'll also be able to share with you all of our social handles and our hashtags that we're using. So we really would love to see what you create when you click on that link, and it should already be in the chat, or if not, coming up in just a second.
Oh, I love this. So I got to review some of the chat comments, Beth, and I have really, Bob, a great comment. I'm usually focused on using this as math, and because I'm a math teacher, but this makes me realize that I can use it just out of my daily activities, whether it's a check-in, whether it's a four corner as well. And I'm seeing some really great answers and ideas here. So thank you guys for contributing in the chat. I can't wait to review them all. Beth, if you see anything as I'm talking that you want to call out, please feel, oh, habitats. All right, I'm going to get distracted. The chat. So
I know, I've seen
right now.
so many great ideas. I know I need to just stay here and hover and look at all these great ideas in the chat. It is included in our resources link, but we did want to talk for just a second about, since we have so many great ideas sharing in the chat, and it seems like we have so many people who are getting excited about how to use digital manipulatives in Lumio. We'd love for you to come and join us and be a smart ambassador. You do not have to be an expert, just someone who's enthusiastic about using it to help our students grow. So if you click there and on the resources, you'll be able to find the link for how to become an ambassador and join our real global community of smart enthusiasts, is sharing ideas, finding out the soonest sneak peeks of all of our new features. And that's all in the resources.